Here we go. It's Diaz versus Toxiic in the lower bracket of the Salt Mine 4 qualifier. That's right. These players are trying to make it into the main event happening just a few weeks from now. This is the third qualifier. Only a few more chances. And talking about chances, they have lost one of their chances by getting forced into the lower bracket. Toxiic got forced into the lower bracket by Shoddy in the upper semis. Diaz got forced into the lower bracket by Tempo, the Dominus that's popping off. The Dominus that just can't quit is continuing to play well as Diaz tries to qualify not only to the NA Salt Mine, but the EU Salt Mine. He's going to have to do this one through the lower bracket. He did not have to go into the lower bracket when he played in North America. He won every series he played. Now, can he win every series in the lowers? You never know. He might have a rematch with the Dominus again, an attempt to prove he can bring it down. I'm not sure Diaz has ever had to play a Dominus over in North American servers. And now we'll go the distance of the field, out of the back corner. This is light work for a guy named Diaz. Toxiic is very capable in the air, do not get me wrong, but he has been considered to be more of a speedy ground player type 1v1er. Diaz, definitely the most aerial focused. I mean, if you have a slider from grounded to aerial based 1v1, Diaz is at one end of the slider. He's at all the way on the aerial end, and he does it with grace and skill because he does it at a high level. Usually, I would say in 1v1, when you take somebody and you throw them to one end of the slider in that way, they're usually sacrificing too much, and they don't play at the highest level like Diaz does, because you have to be able to mix it up a bit more. But Diaz does it while he's all the way at the end of the aerial slider. Toxiic is not at the end of the grounded slider. Certainly more players or players out there who are more grounded, as Toxiic tries to prove that right now with an aerial attack of his own to make it 3-1. Who's on the other side? It's kind of a good question that I knew I was going to be asked and maybe was thinking about as soon as I said Diaz was on the aerial slider. Who do you guys think is on the grounded slider? I mean, I think Moxie's going to be the first one everyone says, but Moxie is still pretty decent in the air. I think Moxie's probably the best example, though, because even when you're fully on the grounded side of the slider, you're not getting away with at least having some aerial game. Prime Khaled, I mean, that's a little bit a reference to an older time, though, in 1v1, where the game was just grounded a bit more. Jack's pretty grounded. We need an overlay that includes ping for when Sam and Mina are playing. Yeah, that's true. I wonder if the overlay, I've never seen an overlay in Rocket League with ping, but that data is probably available for them to pull and put on the overlay if they wanted to. That could be kind of interesting. I need to write that down for future updates to my overlay. I think now that I've seen all these cool new overlays, I think I do want to update my normal show match one. But I really like to keep it clean. I don't want to go too big. Like even the Salt Mine one, I think for daily show matches is like maybe just a bit big. But I don't know, maybe I need to give up that thought. Maybe it doesn't matter if it's clean and small. Toxiic into the air on the reset after getting a 1-goal lead through the first half of game 1. Diaz is going to show that he's got some ground game, despite me trying to say he attacks exclusively through the air, although that flick maybe helped make my point. Not the best flick ever from Diaz, as he looks for a boost steal. Toxiic on the ball, going to have to try and find a way to make his way to 100 boost somewhere. It looks like it'll be this midfield 100 as Diaz gets a wall to air dribble with more than enough in the tank to work with, and the wave dash shot denied. That comes down to the setup being too far off target. There was absolutely no threat of a fake at all, so Toxiic can just wait and say, you'll have to wave dash shoot this. If you don't, then I don't care, and if you do, I'll be prepared for the save. And prepared for the save he was. Now a pop the other way. He's got a 2-goal lead over Diaz. Diaz is working with 112 here on this server. Looks like both these guys are 2024 contenders. rocking their RLCS 2024 contender title. Diaz going to go the distance out of the back corner. This is where he's most effective. I just can't believe it. It just doesn't make sense. You just think it's so much harder. Certainly a sidewall dribble or a closer dribble might be easier to work with, but no. The full field is where he's most effective. Although he's been mostly going out of the back corner. He hasn't even done his patented back wall dribble, as Toxic will bump him, re-extend the lead to 2. Diaz. Reset going to be dunked by Toxic whenever possible. I'm assuming we're going to see Toxic up to ceiling height to stop the Diaz dribbles before it's too late. And Diaz getting caught diving in, having to play from a deficit. He's down 3 now with 1:14 left to go. Now he's going to be forced to do these egregious type challenges, as he won't have much other choice. Toxic, another kickoff win. His shots a bit too slow to be effective against Diaz, who's now rolling across the field on the ground. Flick to the top corner. Toxic on low boost. Diaz going to go air dribble bump. Toxic able to sneak out around it. Diaz tried his best to go high and take away that angle off the back wall for Toxic, but it didn't work, and now Diaz is fortunate that Toxic was a bit overzealous. Just needed to be careful and safe for the rest of the game to walk in his victory. Instead, his reset shot leads to a counterattack. Kickoff win for Diaz. 34 seconds. Toxic's going to try and pinch it away. It has blue trail. Toxic, high enough bounce that I expect him to stay on the ball here. And yes, he follows it up. And Diaz has had enough. He's down to go next. If this ball bounces a little bit lower, then Diaz with his boost advantage probably takes it away. No chance for Toxic. But with that high bounce, Diaz can't get to it that quickly either. And allows Toxic to chase it down and get the win. Game 2, Diaz and Toxic. Toxic off to a hot start. I would say commanded that game all game long, which is not something that happens very often with Diaz. Diaz always seems like he's threatening or has a chance or even is controlling the gameplay more so than he was against Toxic, who seemed to be dictating. Diaz going for a double, denied. Toxic not going to let anything in easy. Diaz having to use his reset right away to bring what was a setup nowhere near the nets back on target. What an important bump from Diaz, who was reading the back wall pass. Or Toxic, I should say, was reading the back wall pass from Diaz. Diaz had to be sure to bump him. But here's Toxic scoring again first. Toxic chaining some dashes out to the midfield and then just zipping himself back to the ball. I mean, Toxic is using his speed right now to just not necessarily outpace Diaz, but because Diaz didn't even try and go for that one, but surprise Diaz. Diaz just not expecting Toxic to be as aggressive and as quick. Diaz, like many people who play on the North American servers, prefer to have the game slow down slightly, get a little bit more opportunity to set up plays back and forth. What Diaz might have to do is get a little dirty. Get a little dirty, play a little demo game, maybe mix up the way he's attacking in order to find some more success against Toxic. Diaz again, another demo. When Toxic won't give you the space, create it by deleting him. Another ground play for Diaz, and the flick will work. Toxic, a bit of a feels backflip, I think, if we watch from his perspective. I want to say that he could save that, maybe, with a double jump. A clean, fast aerial. Maybe gets up there. Diaz can stay in the air using his boost to catch back up to this ball. And make sure Toxic never stands a chance after that sidewall dash. Toxic, that's a mistouch. Diaz looking to try and pounce on it, and it might not have worked out. Almost let Toxic find a way through, but he makes it back just in time. Pre-flip to beat Toxic on his backwards challenge, and it's a 4-1 lead for Diaz. Toxic kickoff win goes to the ceiling. Diaz able to send his shot into the crossbar. And it just takes one power shot off the wall to punish. Really, it's just a reward for an amazing save. You take it, Tempo didn't win. You take it that the Dominus didn't win. The Dominus, the Dom, you're wrong. Tempo is Timothy. Diaz makes it 6-1, assuming you're talking about the Diaz Tempo game that happened earlier. Diaz now showing off the full range of his aerial game. Another kickoff possession as well. Not only has Diaz gotten into the sequence where it looks like his opponent is just looking up in fright every second of the game, he's also making sure he gets kickouts and puts himself right back in that position. Nice save from Toxic. I think that was bouncing out, but still. Oh, Toxic. Nice read. Solid shot, but Diaz is still back there in time. And controlling an air dribble, dunking it. And at least sending it away. Toxic running out of time. We're in a position where, you know, if a sixth goal were to be scored this late, I could see someone maybe wanting to forfeit, but Toxic has just been fighting in the midfield for many minutes, down 5. He needs this goal, and the 50's not in. Diaz, what a save. Able to guide it down and around him. Now, if this counter makes it 7-1, that's when we're talking about potentially headed to another game. Diaz is hitting his shots now. And again, it's looking like Toxic is stuck staring up, wondering how he's going to get beat this time. A position that many Diaz opponents have been in. 7-1. We'll head to game 3. Hey, if I typed 1, it would be me as well. Diaz and Toxic. Game number 3. Tempo is my Dom is a crazy message that I'm not letting go unnoticed. Diaz takes on the Diaz challenge. For him, it's just another morning. The full field air dribble has the resets. Of course, Toxic believes he can do it because he can. And he fakes it to drop it in. Kickoff goal for Toxic to equalize quickly, though. And Diaz did not seem to be too worried about rushing back. That was not the behavior of someone panicking like they're about to get scored on. Maybe he felt like it was already over. Toxic, interesting flick. it's really powerful, but it was very intentionally not aimed at the net. It's not often you see such strong flicks being sent towards the back wall just to outplay around somebody at the midfield. Toxic again. This is the look up. Can we get look ups in chat? I think whenever Diaz is playing, I always forget what the emote is, but I think this is just his opponent so often. Like you just switch to their POV and it's them going, oh no, oh no, Diaz is in the air again. What can I do? It's too late to jump, and now I have to just wait. Diaz out over the top of the double jump bump, and it's another look-up situation as Diaz has the resets, but falls short of the nets. Toxic going to try and hit him back. Diaz wants to cut it off early. What a steal from Diaz. Pinches it up high, back down. Toxic thinks he's going to get a dribble off the ground, but clean catch from Diaz. And he takes it the other way. Toxic then trying to switch it up in the way he's defending these aerials. He looks to go challenging from the air, and doesn't matter, still a Diaz goal. Fear, would you agree that this was a certified Dongra J moment? I couldn't agree less with anything. Kickoff win for Toxic. Diaz thought he could affect it on the side wall. Look up emoji, the Willem Dafoe meme. It's that is. Oh, I got you. You could still, if you still type it, it still shows up on mobile. Just to be clear, you just have to type it capital L, capital U, with no space. Everyone else will see it. Nice shot from the side wall from Toxic. You don't have to type. Look up emoji, the Willem Dafoe meme question mark. I'm on mobile, can't see. We got ourselves a game here in game number 3 as we look to see who's going to get the separation in the best of 5. Diaz not seemingly even trying to take that dribble the length of the field. Almost tapping it down off the back wall. Expecting to have to play it off the bounce. He will steal Toxic's boost here, and Toxic, again, is just diving way more than it feels like Diaz is expecting. Toxic is just going speed and going ball, and it's working out a ton. Diaz thinking that Toxic may not try and go up for that one, but Toxic made it there without too much sweat at all. Diaz at ceiling height. Is this a look-up situation? No. Toxic has able to deny him, and he's actually just take it to his back wall to make sure Diaz doesn't get another touch, and evades the demo, and the speed from Toxic again will get him a goal. Just playing at a faster pace than Diaz is ready for. Diaz gets popped up into the air with the ball and decides to just carry it into his back wall to make the save. Now he's got to defend against Toxic, who doubles it in. The reset double from Toxic. Chips this one up in the air and rolls through the reset perfectly. I might have even got another reset in the process of tapping it in. Trying to give a look up back the other way. As soon as we talked about Diaz's relentless aerial attack, it has completely halted. And now Toxic has become in control. A minute 30 left to go. Diaz has got time, but the ground game hasn't looked nearly as effective. So when he has been forced to carry dribbles, Toxic takes him away. He does at least 50 this one into the corner. Toxic first touch reset, gonna flip through, can't double it in, won't try to. Will just get the boost steal and waste even more time. He's down to play slow as Diaz Hovers on the back wall. Another steal. Each steal wastes so much more time and probably secures a game number 3. Fake flick. Diaz falls for it. 7-3. And that is a next. Perfect performance here from Toxiic with the lead to slow play and eventually get himself his goal that ends the game and gives him the lead in the series. Game number 4. Toxiic has been going crazy here against Diaz. When Diaz has been able to play his aerial game, oh my goodness. It has proven to be too much for Toxiic, but he has, like I said before in game number 1, been doing a good job of dictating. Nice reset, rolling through the ball to get a ton of speed. Can Diaz play his game again? He's going to get punished for diving in. What? Oh my goodness, what a save. Diaz found his way back after diving into Toxic's corner. Toxiic launched the long shot, and Diaz just floated back to get there and just barely stopped it on the goal line. Unfortunately, Toxiic will quickly get the goal he felt he deserved on a perfect hook shot, crossbar down and in. But an impressive save nonetheless from Diaz. Maybe, oh, I was going to say maybe enough to prevent some tilt. But he's down 3-0 within 28 seconds of the next game. And that is not looking good for the North American / South American fans who would have loved to see Diaz come in and take over here in EU. Diaz able to pick up the back corner 100. Toxiic is going to dive. Diaz has to know this. Toxic's game plan has been very clear so far in the series. If there's a time he thinks he can dive, he will. He's going to force Diaz to do a little bit more early flicks, kind of trying to pop and get wins earlier on in the dribble. He has no trouble getting wins late in the dribble. If he's able to get into his spot and get a reset, it's a bucket every time. Look at this flick. Just putting it on a platter straight into the net. But can Toxiic limit those scenarios? That'll be the key for him. Diaz will score on a kickoff as Toxiic gets a little over worried about picking up the boost. Diaz says, okay, you can have it. Flipping out to the boost is not the worst thing in the world if you assume the other player's also going to try and beat you there. And then you slightly beat them there and you get, the 100 while they're out of position. But if they see you're racing too early, they just won't race with you. They'll just turn and shoot the ball. 3-3 at 333, chat. Can we get 3 threes at 333? Can we get 33 subs for 333 at 333? Toxiic kickoff win. A perfect reset. Try to go for the 50. Diaz makes that save. Can we get a measly 33,333 subs? I mean, certainly someone has that. What about 3 subs? Can we make a deal, chat? I'm willing to make a deal. Any Oilers in chat? Says the Oilers. 3 bits. All right. Okay. Thank you, ponies, for the 3 bits. We'll settle for 3 bits. You guys drive a hard bargain. Diaz. Yeah! Thunderbats! Thank you for the gifted. When you think about it, 5 gifted subs is kind of like 3 plus 2/3 of us. It's kind of like a 3. So Diaz is up 6-3 with half the game left to go. And that was not a voice crack. That was not a voice crack. That was just me having to work a lot. Thank you, Shanti, for the gifted sub. Appreciate you. Now it's 6, and that's 3 times 2. Everybody knows that. Diaz is running away with this game after Toxic got 3 within 28 seconds, I believe it was. I think that's what I remember saying. 28 seconds into the game, he had 3. Diaz has 7. He says, I'll match your 3. Yo, Splash Tango. Celebrating the Toxic goal with 10 gifted. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've been running the 9 to 5-a-thon. Chat was telling me they've never seen a 7 on the timer. Did it get to 7 before these subs? I'll be honest, I wasn't looking. I have to do some math to figure it out. But we're definitely much above 7 now. Didn't notice my dono. Sag. Okay, your donut was 1 bit. You said keep the change. You donated 1 bit. You said keep the change. And yeah, I didn't mention it. I guess that means I have an ego. Bacchus, thank you for the 100,000. You guys realize I can't, like, there's a show match going on, right? So during the show match, we cannot, I mean, Toxic is on his way back. You guys are missing it, right? Diaz was up 7-3. Now Toxic got 3 straight. Power shot from the side wall. Another goal arcing right over the top to Diaz. Would you rather us focus on that or me be saying, hey, thanks for the 1 bit, the fun buns? Yeah, keep pretending it's about passion. Okay. Anyways, Diaz is trying to give us a game 5, give us the cinema that you guys need but apparently don't deserve, as he goes for an air dribble 50. Toxic missing on his clear around the corner, and it'll be an 8-6 lead. Toxic lost the ball off the reset. Just came in. Why is Diaz losing? How is this possible? How many times do you think that's been said about a player or a team who's normally from North American servers playing against EU players? I feel like that phrase is far too common. Wait, just came in. How is my NA GOATs not winning? Thank you, Teebs, for the 3 gifted subs. Now, to be fair, Diaz is rocking 116 ping. He is away servers. Don't get me wrong. He is the GOATs. I have him in my top 2, but I'm just saying that phrase has unfortunately happened a lot when North American players, or in this case, a South American player who plays on US East plays against someone from EU. It's a delayed kickoff and a wave dash. And Mr. Toxic has himself a tie game with 40 seconds left to go. North America is trying to adopt and take credit for the Diaz masterclass, and maybe that's what has doomed him here in this EU tournament. North America does not normally fare well. South America probably a bit better. Toxic is able to bump him up in the air on the air dribble bump. Diaz should be able to steal the 100. Toxic is switching the field over to the opposite corner, trying to transition left and right in the air. Diaz wave dash taken away. Toxic long shot. 7 seconds left to go. He's going to waste more time. Play it slow. Diaz will force it in. Diaz actually an interesting play where he intentionally slams it in order to save himself a little bit of time. Thank you, by the way, Teebs, again for the 3 gifted subs. Much appreciated. It is delay kickoff territory probably for Diaz. As he is down, that is not going to be recoverable. It will hit ground. Diaz will be eliminated. Trying to qualify to both salt mines. He'll still have another chance. Toxic sends him home with the help of tempo, and Toxic will move on.